Have you ever thought, man, it would be so cool to see the NHL play a game here? Well, today we're going to talk about some places I think the league should go when it comes to the outdoor games. That and more on this episode of Locked On Anaheim Ducks.
Your Locked On Ducks, your daily podcast on the Anaheim Ducks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome, everydayers. Thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen every day, part of the Locked On Podcast family. Your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I'm Kyle Carr. I'm a lifelong Anaheim Ducks fan, and I've spent multiple years covering collegiate sports, including college hockey. But today we're talking about the Anaheim Ducks, and we're actually going to have a little bit of a unique episode today with all of the draft talk and free agency talk, all these new ideas and things that could be happening with teams. I started to think about something that could change with the league. Uh, to be honest, I got inspired by this idea as I was listening to 32 Thoughts today. They interviewed Steve Mayer, the NHL's president of content and events, and they were talking about new things, kind of like the outdoor game that they had in my hometown of Lake Tahoe during COVID, and kind of the scenery and everything that went along with that, and that they want to do more stuff like that. Fun fact, I actually learned how to golf on the exact location where that ice was and used to play high school golf on that exact course. So definitely brought a lot of memories, and it was really cool to see that location on television, especially living down here in Southern California at the time. Uh, just really cool idea. But it really got me to thinking, like, what are some other places that the league could go, especially since they're trying to figure out different types of areas to get people involved, to get good visuals, to get content. And I kind of started mulling it about, and I was like, well, where are some locations that the league could go that also the Anaheim Ducks would be one of the main teams to play in that game? And I kind of came up with some that I think are fairly doable in regards to creating the rink, creating the ice, creating the television visuals, and all of the looks that they want to have, and to also get a crowd into or around the game. So the first one that I'm going to get into, I'm going to go into three, but the first one I'm going to get into is Mammoth Lakes. It's very connected to the Southern California hockey community. It's one of the only places that you can go from being in Southern California. You can go up, play some pond hockey, and come back all in a day trip. It's a bit of a stretch of a day trip, and it starts early in the morning, but there's a massive group of hockey and skating people that are down here in Southern California. So hockey players and skating people. There's a massive community that goes up to Mammoth Lakes solely to go play pond hockey and hit the ice. Do I think that the NHL should set up on the places that these guys go play pond hockey? No, they're definitely not the option there, because it's very temperamental. There's days, literally the night before, I was watching live, well, mostly live, like people just recorded videos of them skating this area. I drive up there with my son the next day, and it's completely snowed out. It looks like danger everywhere. Like, it was just not a good thing. So it's very temperamental that way. Where I think it could happen, yes, they have an outdoor rink that's already there. Yes, they also now have a new indoor rink, but those I don't think would be ideal for that. Just the surrounding area, it would be very complicated and cramped. Where I think is they could get with the Mammoth Lakes Village, like the actual ski resort, and create a rink there, create some temporary bleachers, get people around the rink that way. And then you also get people coming in, or you could do it at the airport there up in Mammoth. Try to coordinate with the airport, get a section. They're, it's a very not busy airport, so I'm sure they could finagle some time that there's no in or out flights, and they have an area that's secure for the show. Create the area around that. Another thing that I think, why I think this would be a good idea or could really work, you get the people around in the temporary bleachers. You could also have like standing room, walk up around. I mean, if you've ever gone to like a snowboarding event, skiing event, anything that's involved with like the mountains and stuff, people show up. There's hundreds, thousands of people that show up to these events, and you could barely even see the structure or the obstacle or whatever it is that they're using for the event. So like say you're watching a slope style event for snowboarding, there are so many people that are just there for the event, and they can't even see the rails or the jumps or anything that the competitors are touching, but they're there for the environment. And then you get the big jumbo screens, you get different areas that have the screens, you get the audio, you get the music going. People show up, and especially if you get a collab with the snowboard ski community, you could have an extremely awesome event with that group of people. I could see having like different beer gardens in different areas, just getting people hyped up, watching the game, having the audio go through, music during the intermissions, do some marketing with Mammoth itself, get some marketing with the different ski and snowboard brands. Canadians, they all love to ski and snowboard, people from the East Coast. There's a huge overlap of people that compete in winter sports or just participate in winter sports, whether it's snowboarding, skiing, and hockey and skating, all that stuff. There's a lot that they could do with that type of collaboration. You got the Winter Olympics coming up. That could be a good kind of like crossover segment type, like, hey, like, we got the Olympics coming up. This is also something that we can do. Like, I just see a lot of marketing and connection type capabilities, getting eyes on from different winter sport markets, getting people involved like that. And Mammoth is a huge, huge resort, especially when it comes to, at least for snowboarding, when it comes to the pipes, the super pipe scene, the parks, like hitting jumps, hitting rails, grinding, all that environment is very, Mammoth is known for that. And they also are very, they even have their spring and summer skiing and stuff like that. But it is the the environment, the culture up there would be a really good thing. And that, I haven't even mentioned the visuals that you could get from up there. The mountains are absolutely beautiful. There's so much space that they can have to make sure that they have the good visuals when it comes to close up TV, all that, getting people around the rink, but then also just the outdoor visuals, playing up in those mountains, seeing the different peaks. If you're in the valley where the airport is, there's mountains on both sides. You can get some beautiful, beautiful shots from that area. So it would be visually pleasing. It would be market friendly. It would be a collaboration friendly. And you get, I mean, just for fun, you could have the Ducks versus the Utah Mammoth. Just for namesake, you got Utah Mammoth playing in Mammoth against the Ducks. But I could definitely see it being a Ducks Kings game where you've got both of those Southern California hockey communities and kind of recognizing those and getting some recognition and just kind of connecting those two dots together. So that's one place that I think would be great. Another place that I think this area would be, it's very, very close and dear to my heart, and I think would be a very, very good thing to give back. And especially, one, I was there, I spent most of my adult life there, but as a veteran, I just think this would be a really great way to give back to active duty service members and to create a lot of content and visuals, and I'll get into that and break it down after this. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. If there's any time I ever needed Monarch Money, it was when I was in the Marine Corps. I could have absolutely used that app, but now I get to use it now. I get all of my financial tracking, my accounts, my spend, all of it is right there. I can see it and I can make sure I'm doing the things that I need to do to create wealth for myself and not just spend every paycheck. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. So another location that I think would be a great visual, and it's a great way to gain exposure to the game and create just a different and new community of hockey fans would be Camp Pendleton or Airbase Miramar, specifically for the Ducks and for Southern California. Because you've got the San Diego Gulls down there. So there's that affiliation. You could have an AHL game as well, kind of like when they do the stadiums where the college teams play and then the college has an outdoor game. You get an AHL game, NHL game. Also, I picture this as being like a Veterans Day uh, extravaganza type event where even the NHL could do a double header and have one game at like an East Coast game at an East Coast base for that first start of the night. And then you have the West Coast game at a West Coast base for that night. And I mean, Veterans Day is November 11th. The Marine Corps birthday is the day before, November 10th. So, veterans are going to be hyped up. Active duty members are going to be all hyped. That is an extremely fun weekend if you are in the military or military affiliated. So, the reason I think having it at a base, when you get a bunch of active duty military members at a live event, you are going to have probably the most extreme energy built that you could have. Like, talk about hype. We know how to get things going. And when you get a bunch of active duty members and you get them into an event, whether it's free, whether it's cheap, however they want to do it for those guys to get in there, they are going to have the most fun time. They're going to create so much energy. They will make it the most noise you could possibly think of. It would probably be one of the loudest outdoor events that you could have and probably have less than an actual stadium. That's how crazy active duty members get. And when you have, well, another thing is you'll definitely guarantee that things will get built. Like, they'll have the rink built up, they'll have everything organized, figured out, they'll have the structure, the TV built, they'll have bleachers built, they'll have platform viewing areas built. Like, whatever it is, it will get done. Absolutely, like, no questions asked. You will make it, it will be there. uh when it comes to visuals, I see you could have, not like, I just, you've got all these guys in their uniforms with their families, all this stuff, but also right around the ice you could have Helo stage, you got Jet stage, you've got the MRAPs, which is the big troop carriers, Humvees. You could have tanks, even though they kind of got rid of tanks in the Marine Corps. But then you can get the giant American flag. Every time we would do like major promotion ceremonies or like graduations from the different schoolhouses, or when units would return home from deployment, they have these giant cranes where they put this massive American flag. Have those on both ends, on both goal ends, just flapping in the wind. all these members in their uniforms around the ice, going nuts. Uh, I mean, you could have the Gold Star families come and do the puck drop. You could have veterans out there doing stuff during intermissions, kids of the service members doing stuff. I mean, doing the puck drop, the ceremony, like all there's so much that you could do around having it on base, and especially with Veterans Day, like there's just so much there that you could do. You've got all these like little events that have been put on base. Like they recently just had a little MMA cage match, like octagon set up outdoors, and the place was packed. It was buzz. It was crazy. My buddy was showing me videos, and it was people were just walking from their houses on base and their barracks and just showing up, having a good time. And if you bring the NHL, like an actual professional game, obviously there's got to be some sort of financial payoff and stuff. The league, everything's all about money, but they to talk about a way to give back to service members, give some tickets away or make it a discounted price for vets or guys that are on the base. Like there's definitely ways to make some money, but also have people there that are getting to enjoy hockey for possibly their first time and have an outstanding experience. And for me personally, I play for a veterans team out here. We got veterans, first responders, just good people that use hockey not only for their physical health, but it is so good for the mental health. Like the connection, what got me into hockey was the type of environment that hockey has. Like really seeing these hockey players and the way they take care of themselves, the way they treat each other as teammates, the way they battle hard every single game. There is a similarity in the culture of hockey and the locker room that is very translucent with the kind of culture you get in the military. And I think that it would completely connect a new market of fans by having it at a base. Like getting more service members to watch, it's exposed to this wonderful game. You're getting them to see a live game that possibly they never would have been able to see if they were elsewhere in the country, or they, maybe just never thought of going all the way up to Honda Center and going and seeing a game. You're just going to get a new community connected. And then not only are you growing that community in that market, NHL is all about the content game. That's one thing they talked about on 32 Thoughts is they're trying to figure out content. They're trying to figure out ways to create new marketing and visuals and stuff like that. Getting a bunch of military service members in there, I mean, I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but you get them in their dress blues, you get them in their service uniforms, or even just being in their camis. You get that visual of all the members around the ice. You get the flags. You get all the veterans, and then the camera visuals of the crowd going crazy. Trust me, they will make sure that things are energetic and hyped and loud. And the reels that you could get off of that, the TikToks, the lives, all the things that you need for social media and content. And I was even thinking, bring the national teams, the national women's team, the national men's team, the national sled hockey teams. Get a bunch of sled hockey guys. I'm pretty positive there are players on the USA sled team that are veterans and play for that team. Get them out there. Have some meet and greets with the veterans and these players. Get those communities connected. You're going to kill it when it comes to patriotic content. Like, it would just be outstanding for the league to do. And what if you did a Canadian event on a Canadian base one day, a USA on the other, or the same thing? Like, get both military branches, get the two countries, and just give back to those men and women who serve both of those countries. I know there's a lot of respect amongst the league for them. They do events for a lot of veterans and a lot of active duty members, but that visual, that environment, the all the things that could come together from that, I think would be spot on. Now, the last place I'm going to talk about is probably the most extreme and unique of these locations, but I think it's a great way to gain exposure and to get an entirely new community involved in the sport of hockey. And I'll break that down after this. So my third and most unique and just out there place I could think of, but kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things, is to see the Ducks in the NHL playing in Hawaii. Yes, I said that right. Hawaii. I know, I know. You're like, what are you thinking? Why would they go to Hawaii? Well, actually, if you have look around and do a little research, do your research. USA Hockey has actually announced that they are trying to make a bigger push and making an effort to get expansion of USA Hockey into the islands of Hawaii. Um, that's kind of their new target of where they're trying to expand and get more grassroots connections to the islands. And this would be an absolute win, I think. The league has shown that they're capable of having these games in warm environments. They've done Florida, they've done the South, like they've done these areas that have heat, and they've done them out here in Orange County, and it doesn't get much colder out here than it does in Hawaii. And it does get cool in the winter. Like, don't get me wrong, there is colder weather in Hawaii during winter. It's not always 85 degrees out there. It's pretty warm most of the time, but they do have cooler temperatures. And again, the technology is there for the NHL to do it. The place that I would see this happening is the Aloha Stadium. So the Aloha Stadium is the location normally where the NFL does their Pro Bowl every year. It's a massive stadium. It's actually going under a gigantic renovation right now. That's why I was in Florida this year for the Pro Bowl. But it's a gigantic stadium. Obviously, this would be targeted towards getting local, like Hawaiian locals into the seats and get the viewership out there for them. And I just think it'd be hilarious and also just very intriguing. Again, another content builder of having the contrast of dudes surfing, the palm trees, the lava, the islands, the volcano on the big island erupting, and then you've got ice hockey going on at the Aloha Stadium. There could be a ton of events that could happen out there. You could get a bunch of roller hockey going, street hockey, ball hockey. Get more and more of these kids exposed to the wonderful game that is hockey. They've had different sports out there that are kind of similar that the natives used to play. They used to play games that are obviously not hockey, but they have very similar games like that. Lacrosse has been definitely taking off over in Hawaii. They have a huge tournament out there every year for lacrosse. So there's a little crossover there. And the the connection to hockey, it's definitely, it could seem very far-fetched, but where I'm seeing the overlap and the real connection, yes, they're trying, USA Hockey is trying to get out there, but it's almost an international type venue as well, because you Hawaii gets a ton of visitors from the US and from Canada, and then also they get a lot of tourists and travelers and visitors from Asia. So different countries over there, Japan, China, Thailand, a ton of countries from Asia come. So there's that middle collab there. You get a lot of eyes on. Uh, I think it would be pretty unique to have either the Ducks and the Kraken or the Ducks and Sharks. Probably the Ducks and Sharks because you've got a huge youth movement for both teams. They're both kind of battling to try to be the first team to be the team that makes it. There's also kind of this like slight rivalry building between the two teams. I've been noticing it the last couple years. It seems every San Jose game's been getting a lot more chippy, even more so than the LA game sometimes. The San Jose and Anaheim games have been getting pretty hype. So get those two out there. You got the youth movement. They get to go connect with these new fans, spread the love. They've all got the vibes. I think of all the NHL generations, this newer, younger generation of players definitely have that just super chill vibe. And I think they would be a great marketing piece out there in Hawaii. And the events that could be held with, like I said, street hockey, roller hockey, they have a bunch of roller courts out there, especially the Big Island has an ice rink. My aunt and my grandpa live out there, and they were talking about they met some people that they go every morning and go play some beer league or they go play just pick up and stuff. So there's people out there that play, people from the mainland that used to play, they move out there. It's just another way to expand the viewership of hockey, expand the love of hockey, and that is what Gary Bettman has been constantly stating as he's trying to get more and more eyes and more fans, more viewership, and talk about completely building a new grassroots movement. Hawaii is that place. It's so unique, but you could have some amazing players that could come out of there and use the finances that come from having a stadium game out there, put that into the hockey out there, put it in there to start building more grassroots programs, getting that exposure. And when it comes to the players, who wouldn't want to go have a little vacation in Hawaii? Take your families out there, get the crew, get some sunshine, hit up Honolulu, go to Maui, go to Kauai real quick before you pop back. Go sip some Mai Tais after the game, have a little luau. Like, there's a ton of stuff that just seems positive out there. Yes, I know it's very out there, very unique, very extreme, but it seems like a very doable event, and it aligns with what USA Hockey is trying to do and what the NHL and Gary Bettman are trying to do with growing exposure. So those are my three locations that I pick. I would absolutely love to hear what you guys think. What's a place that you think the league could do or that you would want to see the league do? And even if you don't think the league can do it, what is a unique or what's a place that you would like to see a hockey game played at? And it doesn't have to be just the Ducks. I tried to keep it more oriented towards where Anaheim could go. There's a ton of places out there, but what would you like to see Anaheim play at? And what would you like to see the league? Send me your responses at cartalksports.com. I meant to mention that at the beginning of the episode, but remember I got mailbag coming up soon. So go to cartalksports.com. That's KJERTALKSSPORTS.com/connect. Send me your places that you would like. Send me any questions that you want answered in the mailbag next week. And just have a great rest of the week. We got one more episode coming your way this week. And we've got game 2 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So make sure you tune into that. Enjoy it. This is an absolutely crazy series that's going on, and a lot of things for the Ducks to learn from. So thank you for making Locked On Anaheim Ducks your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night, until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's where you can find this podcast. Make sure you go like and subscribe to the YouTube. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your arch nemesis. Share it with everybody. And as always, I'm Kyle Carr. Be good out there.